Thank you, Doug. Well, I'm usually told that the only time I open my mouth is to change feet, but I will try to change today. My relationship with Mike Kelley began in 1988 during the dedication of this memorial. I was wounded on 4/15/71. One of my close friends was killed that day, Bob Hine, who lived near Sacramento. We had a pact where if something happened to one of us, the other one would track down the family to explain what happened. Well, 17 years went by, I never could find the family. Well, in September of '88, I saw Stan Atkinson's picture in a military magazine regarding the Vietnam Memorial in California, Sacramento. And on a lark, I wrote a letter. Stan was with the committee. Stan gave the letter to this Michael Kelley fellow, his investigator. So I get a phone call at the beginning of October. Jim, Mike Kelley. Hey, Mike Kelley. Kelley tells me who he is, introduces himself, and we start shooting the breeze, and it turns out Mike was with the 101st. He was wounded in September of '70. I was wounded April of '71. 7 months later, we started talking. I said, you know, I got to really go because I'm meeting the doc. I've kept in touch with the doctor who saved my life in Vietnam, and he happens to be in Chicago for a medical convention going to dinner tonight. And Mike Kelley goes, oh, geez, maybe he knows the doc didn't work on me. And I said, well, what's his name? He says, Charles Carroll. And I said, sit down, big fella. I said, that's the same guy. Well, as you can gather, Mike and I had this bond from that moment on. He worked his butt off, searching everything he could, high and low, to try to find the family of Bob Hine. Well, in the middle of November, I get a phone call, and sure enough, during a phone conversation with Doug Durham here, talking about how they're going to do the parade route and the speeches for the memorial, Doug just happened to say, you know, my brother-in-law's coming in from Alaska, and he wants to march for the mother of a guy that died in his unit, Bob Hine. Now, let me tell you something. Mike almost fell off his chair. So that began. These are the things that happened to me. That began a chain of friendship that has never stopped. I came here in '88 for the dedication, met the family of Bob Hine. It was just the most thrilling thing of my life at that time. Mike and I were brothers. We even though we're long distance, we ended up taking a trip to Hawaii to the dock. We all visited Doc with his family. We had a beautiful time. And, when you got a long distance relationship, your phone calls are what brings you together. I remember trying to get a hold of Mike one day and, left messages. So he finally gets home. I get home and I said, Mike, where were you all day? He goes, I was with some friends. And I said, both of them? You got out, well, you know what he said to me. I can't say what he said, but anyway, that's the way our relationship went. Whenever you would email Mike, I wanted to find out how you set up your medals on your uniform. Well, I just wanted the order. I didn't want to know the history of every order, of every medal, and when it was established. That's what you got in return when you called Mike Kelley. So choose your words on what you asked him. So, and even some of you probably saw his obituary the last couple of days in the paper. This guy's such a comedian, his obituaries he's given his granddaughter to years. If you notice, poor Safi's in the paper there, and Kelly's there with the ears. This is his obituary. This past year has been a great year for me as far as in my personal life. Of the 8 guys that were killed with me in Vietnam, after a meeting with Mike and the Hine family, I made it a passion of mine to find every single family that died that night I was wounded. I found 7 of the families up until this year. I was at the wall on the 40th anniversary, and I met the final piece of my puzzle. The one started by Mike Kelley, I finished. I found the 8th family at the wall on the 40th anniversary. It's been an exhilarating time for me, and that's a part of Mike Kelley still working every day. I called Kelley from DC and I said, "You're not going to believe this one." So it's just a series of things with him. The miracles are working. You know, the man upstairs looked over him. So the Tribune and the Chicago decided to do an article about that and had me on the front page of the paper with all the rubbings I did. So what do? I sent an electronic copy mistakenly to Kelley. Well, he gets this, and obviously he doesn't like the way it's set up. He doesn't like the food ads on the side, commercialism on the bottom. So 3 days later, I get the return email. And I'll read it almost verbatim. Peckerhead. Further refinement of Chicago Tribune Memorial Day cover image with all extraneous text and lines removed. No distractions left behind except your ugly mug and related text. Tried to erase your photo, but my erase tool refused to touch it, saying you were so ugly and you'd probably break my tool. I think that my tool is right. You are that stinking ugly. And he put that little smile thing on the end. That's my friend Mikey. Right now,